For some of you who have watched this channel in the past, you've seen us do some pretty rough repairs on things. This Honda CRV is one of them. And you can see now that the weather's changed a bit, I can see that this panel is a little looser than I would like it to be. And the clips are broken, and to replace those clips, I've got to pull this whole thing off. And I don't want to do that. I want to leave it on. So the question I've got, and the question this video is set to answer is, will Gorilla Glue Epoxy connect this plastic trim back to this body panel in a secure fashion? And the answer is, I really don't know. So the steps we've gone through, first thing, this is winter. So what I've had to do was wash it, and now I've got to dry it. So how are you going to do that? Well, I drove it for a little while, and that helps. But the other thing I'm going to do is use a heat gun. Basically, if you don't have one of these, use a heat dryer or a hair dryer. And heat up and get rid of any water that's in there. And in case you're wondering what the difference is between Gorilla Glue and Gorilla Epoxy is much stronger. And epoxy is simply something that's it's two chemicals that get mixed together. And it's a better gap filler, which we've definitely got here. And I'm hoping I know epoxy is a much better bond. Even the Gorilla website says that. To do this properly, it's important to note that that tip does not mix the epoxy together. What that tip does is dispense two separate epoxies, or two separate chemicals that need to get mixed. Now there's a little mixing tray right there, so you can mix it in there, you can mix it on some cardboard. Do not just squeeze this into your gap, because it will not work. These need to be mixed prior to being applied. Then in theory, this will take about 5 minutes to dry, but it really won't be properly cured for 24, maybe even 48 hours. There's the instructions if you want to read them for yourself. You want to mix this together for about 20 seconds once you've squeezed it out of the tube into the mixing tray, and use it within about 5 minutes. You can't let it sit for half an hour and then use it. Once all that's done, make sure everything's tight. You'll see we're going to have some wooden stakes that we're going to use to apply pressure, because we really don't have an easy way to clamp what we have to do. And if that doesn't work, we'll end up also using some duct tape. So you just squish it out, and it does take some effort, and into the mixing tray, or even on a piece of cardboard. And then at the end here is a little mixing stick you can just snap out. And like I said, we want to mix this up for about 5 minutes, make sure it's nice and even. So you can see it sort of turns white. When you're done mixing it, takes, like it says, about 20 seconds to mix it up properly. Make sure that it has mixed, then you've got about 5 minutes to use it. Now the thing with an epoxy is it takes time to set. So you're going to have to hold it. So here you can see I've jerry-rigged up some wooden stakes to hold the plastic parts and the metal parts together to apply some pressure to them. And we're going to see if this holds up. I'm hopeful. So here we are a week later, and it has held. Now I did just put a second coating on, because I wanted to cover this up a little more. I wanted that to not have as large a gap. I went and bought another one of these Gorilla Glue epoxies and put it in. And you can see, is this perfect? No. Is it better than it was? Dramatically. Is it going to hold? Apparently so. So I would say that the answer to will Gorilla Glue Epoxy or Gorilla Epoxy hold metal to plastic when it comes to automotive uses, especially something as shaky as the front of an old Honda CRV? The answer is yes. And does it look like hell? Nope. Up close when you look at it. By the way, this, you can see this glue is white, but it will turn to a clear shortly. And yeah, so this is going to be just fine. So when you come up and you look at this now, you're just going to see, it's got a dent and a bit of a ding, but it's not falling off anymore. So yeah, this was definitely a good use of 15 Canadian dollars, about 12 US dollars. All right, hey, if you found this video useful, please give us the big thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. Subscribe's also appreciated, and if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can do so at www.urtech.ca, or you can just leave a question or comment below, and if we don't get back to you, somebody else will. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye-bye.